There's a frustration that can arise when you've been practicing allowing. You know the concept, you've gotten better at not fighting your feelings, but it can still feel stagnant or like, okay, things aren't actually shifting in my life practically. And you've probably heard several times that allowing is not about creating a result. But of course, you're doing this work because you want something to shift in your life. Nothing wrong with that. I want to talk about why this happens, where we're doing the practice of allowing, and you can actually tell that you're getting better at it, but all that seems to be happening is like, okay, I feel more uncomfortable feelings. Where is this actually going? I've worked with a lot of people who are pretty far into this work, and this is one of the most common places that I see people get a little discouraged. Maybe not quitting, but it's this low grade, I think I'm missing something here. So what you're missing isn't like more technique or a secret hack. So let's explore this. What's really going on here in the vast majority of cases I've seen is there is this layer of resistance going on in your background, in your life as a human, right? Just this tension, this stuff that you don't even recognize anymore, right? So we're not talking about this big, obvious feeling. It's really uncomfortable. And I've been practicing, okay, allowing that discomfort to be here. We're talking about the much more subtle, more normalized tension and experience that's always present for the vast majority. So even now, as you're listening to this, if you just put some of your attention on your brain's activity, just notice how it can be in an almost constant form of evaluation. Like, does this apply to me? Am I one of the people who's doing it well or not well? Where am I at on this whole process? The improving, the refining, all of this stuff that you've gotten so used to. It is activity. It is mental activity. It's physical tension. It just doesn't feel active because it's running so long and so consistently that it's just that refrigerator hum in your kitchen that you don't even think, oh, I should go do something about that. It's just there. It doesn't even register to your brain as something in your emotional world that could be resistance, that could be affecting your day-to-day life and the results you're getting. So an analogy I use is like a heavy backpack, right? You're wearing it for so long that you don't even recognize that it's on anymore. This chronic background management is a lot like that backpack. So you're sitting down, right? Going to do some allowing practice. Maybe you're able to be with some of the bigger feelings, not fight so much what's going on. But you've still got this heavy backpack on, right? There's still all these subtle layers of activity, and you don't quite see them yet. You're more aware of the obvious emotions and your capacity, which is increasing, to maybe hang with those feelings a little longer. So there's something kind of ironic now about this whole process, which is a lot of the people who find this work and who are really applying effort to it, they're good at applying effort to something. This may very well be you. That's how you've gotten to where you are in life. So once allowing is discovered, we apply that same kind of, I'm going to do it and do it well. Study it, practice it, try to get better at it, and check, is it working? Are these results coming in the way I want? The subtle thing with that is allowing becomes another project to sort of optimize and refine. And that evaluator that, hey, am I doing this right? How's my allowing going? That's one version of the backpack. It's now applied to the very process that's really designed to help take the backpack off. There's something even more perhaps significant about this that I think will really help this land. So that background resistance, it's not just draining your energy. It's also keeping some of the deeper, heavier stuff down, right? There's unprocessed emotional content that has not surfaced yet. Your system's not ready for that yet. And sometimes that constant evaluator is one of the unconscious strategies we've learned to help keep that stuff down there. So these deeper feelings, they do surface when they're ready. That can sound a little scary, but it's actually kind of the whole point of the work. Because just like you can't walk into a gym and bench press 500 pounds immediately, it'll look massively intimidating. When you can, you can. What you're doing in the day-to-day practice, especially as it gets more refined like we're talking about here, right? Noticing the subtle layers that are actually there. You can apply to physical sensations too, the subtle things going on. These are the reps that make it possible to do the heavier weight, right? So some days this gets very, very subtle. Some days something comes up that is anything but subtle. And then there's a real shift afterward. When you start having even one or two of those moments, it'll click more like, oh, okay, there are some things in there that do produce what you might call more immediate results, but you can't chase these moments, right? They're what happens when the system is ready, and all the reps you're doing in the meantime are a huge part of that process. It's actually trying to get to the heavier stuff, allowing into a process. You're trying to be the one in the driver's seat and get to the good stuff or make the results happen faster. Ironically, that's what slows the whole thing down. So let's do a little check-in with this right now. Just notice, okay, in this moment, how comfortable and at ease are you in your own body and your own emotional state? Even in this little pause I'm leaving, do you notice that more subtle background agitation that like, okay, I want to get somewhere. Where's he going with this, right? A good test here. Could you actually just be here for 5 minutes without trying to accomplish anything? Now, 5 minutes can sound really short or really long. Often it's kind of both because it takes about 5 seconds or less for many of us to feel that pattern kick in. Whereas the like, should I be doing something? Is my focus on point? Isn't there something I need to be processing or working on here? That's the backpack, right? That's the, I'm still making this a doing. I'm not comfortable yet being. And as you start to become aware of that and being more present and allowing that, that's when the backpack starts to come off bit by bit. There's less of this constant background resistance, and you'll actually notice more results in the external world, like maybe more energy, more clarity. Things are a little less draining. So start bringing the same quality of attention into the background of your actual day. Those little moments of pause, tuning in, because that's where this backpack layer lives. It's not just in the dedicated practice sessions. Now, there is an allowing meditation that I will link to on the end screen and in the description here. It's right here on YouTube. Very good for tuning in. It's quiet, subtle work, being with what's here more of the time. See what you find.